And welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and today we have with us an incredible guest. And I know all my guests are incredible, I can't help it. But so, this guest, if you have been paying attention to my site, and you'll been noticing that I'm on a new location where I've been dubbed the Way Shower. This is the one that founded that organization. And of course, I'm talking about 5D Healerverse. So without much more of me introducing her, I'm going to let her take it from there and introduce herself. The wonderful, the amazing Trish Kane.
Hello, Michael. Good evening. Thank you for that amazing introduction. Great to see you, Way Shower. It is 9 o'clock Eastern time, and I've been up since 5 a.m., so we're going to have some fun, right?
And of course.
Yeah, and that introduction video was so sick. Literally seeing like the Bermuda Triangle on there, and like the whole introduction and the unknown. I love that, and I love that you tap into that and really showcase that and highlight that. It's super important that with what you're doing is so important, like really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikki.
What's up, Nikki?
Nikki is actually one of our fans from Australia.
Amazing. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, it's morning there.
It is.
We have a healer from Australia on the platform. And yeah, so I guess where should we start with some?
Well, how about giving a little bit of fun of love, the love of live. Wow, it's like I just couldn't get the words out. Let's start with giving a little bit of your background for those who are wondering who is Trish Kane.
I am love, literally. This time around, I was born in Long Island, New York, and I lived there until I was 29 years old. Went to business school, did terrible in school, never fit in the box that society created for the humans, or whoever created that box. Never fit there, and I always like fit in everywhere, but didn't, because I'm basically an alien. And so like I came to Florida in 2014, and don't mind me, like this eye, because of the story I'm going to tell you guys in a little bit. When I get tired, it like closes, so I like try to open it. And I'll tell more about that in a little bit. But so I ran away to Florida in 2014, and prior to that, I would get like signs from spirits, but I had a near-death experience down here, and that really escalated things entirely. I went to the other side. I wonder if anyone else on here has ever gone to the other side. Yeah. And yeah, like I basically was, in the grips of a really dark place for a really long time. And when I got down here, I kind of like ran away so I could just do things differently. And also, I kind of manifested this because I always wanted to be in Florida. So I ran away here, and I'm here right now, but I didn't stay here the whole time. Yeah, like I didn't really make friends that easily here, not good ones. And I was having
That's hard to believe.
I know, but I was in a dark place, for a really long time. And I wasn't myself for a really long time. I lost myself, basically, from societal conditioning, and also a lot of limiting beliefs and trying to fit in and trying to people please. From going through a lot of stuff that I went through, I kind of molded myself to situations for security, and also to kind of fit in. And I still did it. And I always felt uncomfortable wherever I was. So I would drink and drug a lot to kind of fit in. And I think a lot of people have gone through that, right? Yeah. It's kind
Definitely.
of, and then like in 2014, November 16th, I wound up actually overdosing on cocaine. Yes, you can do that. People say they're like, you can do that? Yeah, it's happened to like a lot of people. Not with the fentanyl stuff that the US government puts in the drugs now, but you said I could say whatever I want on here, right?
I did. I stand by it.
Notice I didn't say Mexico. um, it wasn't even fentanyl. Like it was like straight cocaine, and it was strong. And I did a lot, and my heart stopped. I was having a really tough time that night. I was really like feeling like life was over, but I didn't want to kill myself. I just didn't want to feel a damn thing. And I did a lot of cocaine. I was drinking, and I blacked out. And I went to the bar the next morning, actually. That happens sometimes. When you're doing a lot of cocaine, you just want to keep doing drinks because you don't really know what to do with yourself. It's like you can't stop doing drugs and you don't feel comfortable in your skin. You're like, should I hide in the closet or should I go back to the bar the next morning? It's really not a good place to be in. But hopefully this helps somebody, right? So I went back to the bar the next morning, and then I remember coming back to the house that I was living in Florida, and I did like a little bit more cocaine and some Adderall maybe, and I literally remember telling myself, "Don't lay on your back," because you know so many people that died like that from throwing up and not waking up, and I actually died sitting straight up like this, Indian style. And the paramedics found me the next that night, I guess at like 3 o'clock in the morning, the police report said. So my mom, Michael, my mom, talk about like, you know, how, right? She had a feeling something happened to me and had a wellness check done on me. And they found me dead, literally sitting straight up. Mind you, prior to that, I would do drugs and drink and stuff all the time, and she would never check me, you know what I mean, or check up on me, nothing. But that one time, she knew. Like, that's not, you know, how do you explain that, right? And I was 86 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Celsius, like 86 degrees. You're supposed to be 98.6. And I don't know what the conversion is in Celsius of what the average body temperature is, but I was 30 degrees. And they resuscitated me twice and brought me back. And they were trying to put the tube into my throat, and they couldn't get into my throat. I was hypoxic, which is like blue, right? And they were trying to put the tube down my throat, and they couldn't get it. And the paramedics said to each other, they told me this after, right? I gathered evidence over the years. They said they were going to give it one more shot, and if not, they were going through the neck. They were going through the trach, right? And thank God they got that thing down my throat, because otherwise I would have a hole here still. Yeah, I lucked out. So, but anyways, I literally like barely even made it, right? So they rushed me to the hospital. And no way is she gonna make it. Told my mom and dad, like, if she makes it, she's definitely going to be brain dead. And mind you, I went to the other side. Like I was in a tunnel, like when I was dead. I remember being in a tunnel. I was on this like boat gondola thing, and it was a long tunnel actually, like that I was on this boat, and it was a cave also. And at the end of the cave tunnel, there was two angels there, and my higher self was speaking, or something was speaking, saying, "No, it's not supposed to happen like this. It's not supposed to happen like this." and the angels looked like they were like working their magic. And when I looked up of the cave tunnel at the end of it, right, this area, this lit up area at the end of it, when I looked up, there was people up there celebrating, and they were celebrating Christmas. So mind you, and I'm jumping around a little bit because it's important that I can just declassify everything I've learned since then, right? Because like I only know what I know. I don't know what's true and what's false. I only have my own experience, and I stick very strongly to that. I'm not even telling anybody to believe anything except for this is my story. This is my experience, right?
Right.
So look up. Yeah, it's one of those, and I'm big on that still. Like, yo, like whatever you say, yeah, like okay. As long as you didn't get it from like CNN or Fox News, it's probably true. So I looked up, and they were celebrating Christmas. So I kind of had this idea after, like years later, right? I realized like the reason I saw them celebrating Christmas is because I grew up going to Catholic school, going to church this lifetime, possibly in past lives, right? Christmas was always a holiday that we celebrated also. So like, and it was like a celebration, and that's probably why I saw that. I'm not saying that's what everybody would see going to the other side, but that's what I saw. And then I came out of my body. Sorry, my dog's barking. This is real life. I came out of my body and I saw my feet. Let me just tell my boyfriend to make him stop barking. Sorry, guys. I'm like, this is real life. Post 2020, we wear our pajamas on camera. You know what I mean? And dogs bark, babies cry. Yep. It's cool. All right. So, anyways, I came out of my body and I saw my feet. But I didn't know that this was my body, and I didn't know that those were my feet. I just knew somebody died. The feet were blue. The legs were blue. I didn't see the face. I just saw like a dead body, right? Like legs and feet. And then up there, they were celebrating Christmas. I went up there for a little bit, and I hear it's not supposed to happen like this. It's not supposed to happen like this. I don't see who's saying this. I'm assuming it's my higher self saying, no thanks, not my time. Because I was not trying to die that day. I didn't want to feel a damn thing in this human body, in this human existence, because it can be challenging sometimes and painful. And I was in a really sad spot at that time. Like I literally felt so alone, and everything I thought I knew and everybody that I knew, like I didn't really have in my life anymore. And I didn't want to feel like that, but I didn't want to die. Like I still had hope. I still had hope. So anyways, I went up there for a little bit. They're celebrating Christmas. I'm trying to talk to the people up there and tell them what I just experienced, because that was the realest thing I've ever experienced in my life, right? Nobody's listening to me, Michael. Like, no one's listening to me, And I'm like, hello, guys. Like, I'm trying to, like, tell them, and they're celebrating Christmas. Next thing you know, I wake up 9 days later from a coma. And I remember them taking the tube out of my throat. I think they said cough. And they took the tube out of my throat. And, like, the doctor was like, do you know where you are? And I'm like, hospital. And I'm for sure thinking I'm in the damn psych ward. And I'd been there before for drinking and drugging, right? They always tell me there's nothing wrong with you. Stop drinking, like always. Because every time I drank, I did drugs. Like I couldn't help it. There was no like not doing drugs. I never could get high enough. And so I'm like, gosh, I'm in a psych ward again. You know what I mean? And I'd been there probably like 2 times before, maybe 3. I think 2. From doing too much drugs and like, as a precaution. And I did so much they didn't even ever need to pump my stomach. Like I was like a beast. Like 30 beers a night, like weighing in at 120 something pounds, Yeah, like I was a sender. And like would still be going, like literally like force of nature. Oh my God. So like they took the tube out of my throat, whatever. that was weird. But I didn't know that they were taking the tube out of my throat again, right? They're not like, okay, you have a tube down your throat. We're going to take it out. Like, they told me stuff slowly. And they put me in the MRI machine. Literally, this eye didn't move back and forth. That's why I was telling you guys before, I'm slightly tired. So I'm like pushing my eye up. This eye didn't move back and forth. This side, completely droopy. And I was in the sun today. I usually don't look like this. And so I had 2 strokes and I was wrecked. I couldn't see. Like, this hand didn't do this. Like, I had to learn how to use my hands again, how to feed myself again, how to go to the bathroom on my own. I had like a catheter in, and like prior to that, I would get signs from spirits, but that escalated things, you know. I would definitely get signs like, hey, we're here, we're around, we're here to comfort you and love you, and we're here for you. Like, but this was like, okay, like, where the heck did I just go? And I knew like who kind of saved me spirit wise too. And yeah, like I kept hearing from the doctors. One of the doctors was like, I have no idea how you're here right now. You have angels, right? Yeah. Hi, Annette. Yeah, I have no idea how you're here right now. You have angels. Like, he said, oh, let alone speaking to me. Like, he was fucking shocked. Like, and I was shocked that he was shocked. You know what I mean? Because you don't think it's going to be you. And then also what I experienced, I had to tell people. I really didn't know what that was, but that was the realest thing I'd ever experienced. I was like, I have to tell people, Do you want to answer, Annette? Chime in, Michael.
So, Annette, we were listening to Trish sharing her near-death experience and the aftermath of that experience of her 9 days in a coma and 2 strokes.
Yeah. And I went to the other side, for lack of better terms.
So, quick question for you, because you were saying spirit was around and it escalated. What did the escalation look like after the 2 strokes and near death?
So I'm thinking that I missed some of the signs prior to that they were giving me, and then they were just everywhere. Because I think that's kind of how it starts for most people. Possibly not everybody. Not everybody. It's different for everybody. But they would like send me different, like, ladybugs, for example. There would be ladybugs in the house in the dead of winter, in Long Island, New York, in like 2012 on, which makes no sense. I'd never seen that before. And then when I went to like physical therapy, occupational therapy, and rehab after that for drug and alcohol treatment, there was ladybugs. It was infested, Michael. It was infested with ladybugs. And I was like, yo. And then I'm like, this is a sign. Because like everyone finds things in a different way. And I think too, when we're so damaged, like how are we going to see that? If we're like covering stuff up. Although, like, I will say drugs also open up portals. Some of them are not so good, I think.
Right.
Some of them are not so good. I don't really like necessarily believe in like bad spirits, but darkness is a real thing on Earth and elsewhere too. It's definitely real, mind control, darkness, like just society in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Annette, I hope you find answers. I'm not a medium that tunes into that. So I'm sorry, but I don't know that this show can help you tonight with that. Maybe there's another show on the networks or online that you can find that may help you find answers. But our prayers and thoughts to you, and
Aww.
for finding that 6-month-old baby.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Whoa. Did somebody do it on purpose to take the baby?
That could be. So you were talking about the ladybugs being everywhere, and that is unusual, especially wintertime. You don't see the ladybugs out that much.
No, definitely not in New York. You barely even see ladybugs, let alone to be like infesting the house. So that's kind of just how like it all started and then escalated. And then right before that, like my uncle passed away. And like my brother-in-law at the time passed away, and so did my friend Michael. And I felt like them three were the ones that came in and they were like, no. And they weren't the people that I saw up there, but it's not even up there, by the way. So those weren't the people that I wound up seeing up there, if you want to call it. But it also made me realize that we're like multidimensional beings, because like some of the people that were up there are also in this timeline right now, but not all of them. So like it made me like, and again, this is my own belief, right? Believe what you want, but I was dead. So, and yeah, like it just makes you realize that there's so much more out there. And it's nothing to fear. It's actually super comforting for me. Like I was telling this story earlier, but like I mean, since then I've studied a lot, but also tapped into my innermost self, which is something that I previously did not do, right? And I kind of just realized that we all have superpowers, and everyone does. And I've been able to like communicate with spirits since then. I've been able to like do different healing modalities, like Reiki, for example, right? So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, when I did Holy Fire Reiki 1 and 2, the downloads that were coming in were so profound. And when I've done breath work, like, so profound. And just even in conversation with like-minded friends like you, Michael, like, the conversations that we get to have on a daily basis, not everybody gets to have these conversations, and they're craving these conversations. They're craving this, right?
I agree, because sometimes it's like there are people out there who think like we do, but are afraid to say anything because of
Yeah.
the way society has treated everybody who thought differently. And so
Yeah.
it's really empowering to be a part of movement, if you could call it that, of bringing it a safe place for it.
Yeah. And also, I'm one of those people, like, by the way, I'm also a global blockchain speaker, and like, heavy into blockchain and and blockchain tech and crypto and stuff like that. And um, so I travel around a lot. Like I've been to Dubai and New York quite a few times in the last couple of years to speak at conferences. I was invited to speak in India, um, all blockchain events. London, at different blockchain events I've spoken at, and Paris and whatever. So I'm a breath of fresh air when I walk in the door, or get the fuck away from me. Because like people will be like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm the CEO and founder of a global social media platform and marketplace for spiritual and holistic people and enlightened people, and for people to learn and find friends all over the world. And they're like, yes. And then I've had the coolest experiences, Michael. I had somebody literally cooled off my water bottle at a conference in London. Like, and I know this is plastic, but it's refillable and it's spring water. But so this guy literally took my water cup and he went like this, and it was like room temperature, maybe a little bit warm. He did downloads on it and he made it cold. And I was like, cheers, buddy.
Should have asked him what's the download code.
Yeah, but the best part is that he was dressed in a suit and tie. You know what I mean? You never know who's undercover in disguise. I've had people pull tarot cards out of their pockets. Oh, this is what I picked today. When I spoke on the 10X Grant Cardone stage, like the stages, like 8 of us wound up in the top eight out of like 300 people. And I got on stage and you can see I pinned it on the top of my Instagram. And some really badass guy came up to me a day later and he was like, "Were you the girl that was on stage yesterday talking about the censorship and the shadow banning on the spiritual community?" Meanwhile, this guy suited up, looked super white collar, scared the crap out of me. And I was like, yes, sometimes it's lonely when there's 400 people there and you're speaking up and out, right? And you don't know who's on your side, right?
Right.
And it's like, yes. And he's like, yes, I need to talk to you. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, come here, I need to talk to you. And then he's like, chewing my ear off. Amazing guy, Dr. Timothy Teal. You know what I mean? He's a Healerverse healer now. But back then I was like, uh-oh. He was like a doctor and like found out that his patients were like healing themselves. And he was like, this doesn't fly with me. And like, these are the conversations that often come to me. So I feel super blessed that I get to have these conversations every day. It's like, there's so much more to life than the messages that are going out on platforms, right? And like to be able to hold space for that and know that I'm safe and protected, even though your Gmail address got deleted, correct?
One of them did for a show, yeah.
Unbelievable. See? And I've heard of them like deleting files off of people's Gmail, like emails too. Like people will make something, it's on like their like G folder or whatever you call it. For a tech CEO and founder, like I'm like, what's that thing again? WordPress? Tech jokes. But
no, and it was funny too, is like you were asking me, how do I tag? How do I post this link?
I'm not good at Facebook. P.S. I'm an OG Facebook. I'm one of the first people that was on Facebook back in the day. 2003, I think, 2004, whatever it was. Like you needed to have a college email address in order to be on Facebook for a long time. And I was in college and it was like Harvard, and then they did like Massachusetts, then Connecticut. Like, they spread like that, Facebook. It wasn't always what it is today. Like literally those Harvard peeps, they started at Harvard and then they were like, let's go to like whatever. They did like Connecticut, Massachusetts. They went school by school by school. But then like at some point I was like, I don't want to see the freaking memories on here. I don't really care who's doing what, I literally just post on there and I don't even go on there. Like it's, you know what I mean? Feel free to tag me on whatever, anybody, you know what I mean? I don't really like Facebook. No offense to Facebook. Instagram I like sometimes because I could see stuff fast. I know Facebook is great for stuff like Healerverse for what you're doing too, right? Because more people are on there, you can get a better reach. But LinkedIn is my jam. I don't know. I guess it's the OG Wall Street in me turned healer. But I like LinkedIn. You're on LinkedIn too, though. We're connected on there. Is that how we met? We met on LinkedIn, right? Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. That's how we met. Look at that. See? Otherwise, we never would have found each other.
Yeah, and you actually approached me. It was
yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's so cool. Like, tell me more, right? And you were on the Healerverse Roundtable recently too, which is like totally underground too. That's like the back door to Healerverse. There's the front door, which is like healing and healers and stuff, which is amazing because like people need that. Like we need that. I need that, like healing and healers, right? Then there's the back door, which is the underground conversations that we have on Fridays at 1:00.
Yeah, I love the round tables. They're they're really interesting, and Actually, it's kind of funny is there's been two people I know who have joined Healerverse after I did, and it's kind of funny because one of them is your guest on Friday.
Do you
He
know
was on my show.
I met him. I was wondering if you two know each other. Do you know
Yeah.
that? Because I didn't meet him from you. I met him at a conference in California in February.
Yeah, it was February. I think January. He was on my show talking about going to that conference. And
Law of Attraction much? Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering if you guys knew each other, and I was even thinking that we should call him a way shower.
He is a way shower.
Yeah. Wow, we need to all meet up in person.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to take a step back real quick because
Yes.
we've been calling out Healerverse and Healerverse. Can you explain what Healerverse is and how you came about developing it?
Mm-hmm. In 2020, I moved to Colorado. So I had I did kind of like a Reiki healing session, like when I first, became a Reiki healer too. And one of my healer friends did a Reiki session on me. And I got this download that basically was spirits talking to me, and they said, "You don't have to do this anymore." And I was like, oh, because I was working in corporate America, if you want to call it that, like selling digital databases and digital content to the government, the military, and university, like doing sales, like traveling all over. That was fun and stuff. But like, I just was like, So they were like, you don't have to do any of this anymore. And I knew what they were talking about. They were like, surrender it all. So I sold my house in Delray Beach, Florida, that I just redid with my friends, paid them hourly, whatever, flipped it in the middle of lockdown because, like, everyone was moving to Florida. Like, it was good money that was to be made, right? Thank you, Michael. And so I get there and I'm like Googling. I resigned, first of all, from my job. Like, I just knew. I was like, the universe wants me to do something big, So I resigned from corporate America and literally sold my house. They actually bought the house for exactly what I wanted them to buy it at, cash. And it's because their mortgage didn't come through in time. I was like, nope, you got to pay cash. And they had it. So moved to Colorado and don't have a job. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to do something I trust. And at this time, the spiritual and holistic community and healers are getting censored and shadow banned on social media, right? And way showers too, right? And I'm like, I'm going to build my own social media platform. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? So anyways, I'm like, all right, like, am I supposed to do this? And I had two ideas. One of them was build like an underground, like gift giving economy, like where like people gift each other like money and like automate that with tech. And the other was like build out a global social media platform that's like, like you can basically post whatever you want, be fucking nice to each other. That's big. You need to be nice to each other. It's important, right?
It is.
Like there's no sense in being mean to each other. That doesn't belong anywhere if you ask me. I don't like bullies. But anyways, like we're supposed to have different opinions sometimes. It's actually healthy, but not the opinions that are like, oh, you're wrong. Like, no, it's not like that. Anyways, fast forward. I pulled two tarot cards and I was like, am I supposed to do this? The gift giving economy. And literally the tarot card no came out. It was on an app on my phone. And then I was like, am I supposed to do this social media platform for healers and healing? And literally the tarot card yes came out. I'm like, what? Right? Meanwhile, I have like 5 tarot decks on my phone, like, and I didn't see that card for about 3 years. I didn't even see it. I'm like, I don't even know what deck that was. I have no idea where it came from, where it went, any of that, right? And at the same time, I'm in freaking Colorado, guys. If you know anything about Colorado, there's mad healers there, right? Everyone's like, yeah, you'll find friends in Colorado. It's Colorado. Like, it's known for that, you know? And I'm like Googling healers near me. Like, I can't find anything. Nothing's to be found. And I'm like, I'm in Denver, Colorado. This doesn't make sense. Everybody said there was healers. So I'm like, all right, right?
Boulder, Colorado, not Denver.
Denver too, though. Boulder's right there. Denver and Boulder are just a little bit different of a vibe, but like both, like literally. And I'm like looking up like healers, Reiki healers, like friends. How do I find friends, right? So I'm like, all right. Oh, I'm a 5 a.m. crew. Okay. So I'm like, all right, I can't find any healers. What is going on? So, anyways, I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to build this platform. I'm like, it'll come to me. I'll just manifest like people around me. So then, fast forward, I did find like a tech team. Had a lot of trouble with the tech. Started studying blockchain, like getting involved in blockchain. Blockchain is actually very spiritual. And I'll tell you why. Because it's decentralized. And like basically it's giving the power back to the people. And we don't know what's going to happen with the US dollar. It's probably going to go bust, right? Everyone kind of agrees on that, right?
Yeah.
Or they're going to like do a central bank thing, right? And like at least blockchain tech, and also we're controlled on these platforms, right? So at least with blockchain tech, like literally you can't be messed with, really. It's safer. Cryptocurrencies are great. And there's so much to learn. And I'm an Aquarius sun, and Aquarius is the age of the Aquarius right now. It's a known fact that Aquarius is also tech for good. Like a lot of amazing tech is going to come out now with like quantum tech and like blockchain and AI for good. Like, who wouldn't want an AI bot to do half their job? Who cares? Cheers. No one's going to be able to do your job. Okay, I lied. You know how cool would this be? Pause. How cool would this be? You can just like look cute every day, right? And you type in the thing what you want the AI bot to say, and it can literally do it for you. And you could go to the pool. You know what I mean? You go to the pool.
I do go to the pool and I do shows.
I know. I'm just teasing. I'm just giving you an
Oh,
example.
I know. I just
yeah. Well,
I have
especially
history with AI.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's also very good, right? Because it could give people a better user experience and give like it just depends how you look at it. Currently, ChatGPT is very biased. It was literally built based on Harvard people and Yale people and Stanford people. And like, you know, people are spending time to train the AI bot in order to calculate things at a way better rate and sophisticatedly, like, and to not be so biased. It is biased, right? But like, it would be, you know, we have some ideas in the pipeline about building out like a Healerverse AI bot to help people. Like, you know what I mean? So they could be like, okay, like I want to like learn about this. And then, okay, here's Michael. And there's an event in your community. And then you could go to this workshop. You know what I mean? That's like helpful. And then just the healers are only able to train it, right? So like that's gonna help people. Like it's not like, okay, we're gonna teach you how to take over your job.
No, yeah.
Time.
AI and I have dark history, and someday I'll probably get over it. But
this timeline or past lives or what? Do you remember any of your past lives? Do you believe in that or what?
I do believe in past lives, and I do have memory of a lot of my past lives. And
yeah,
the interesting thing about time is we think it's linear, but it's actually the past, present, and future all happening right now.
True.
And so it's when you start to think about it that way, it's like really opens up the mind to different timelines existing simultaneously and merging them. And so Yeah, but
Did you see that
so
movie? Everything All at Once. What was that movie called? Everything All the Time All at Once or something?
doesn't sound familiar, but
It's like a sci-fi movie. It came out maybe like literally like 2.5 years ago. And I'm really not good at time, like you said. I'm like, I don't even know what day it is. Like,
oh no, I am the worst with time. Like time zones, just yeah, it just confuses me because so I have a show that airs with co-hosts in the UK, and
yeah,
so when the time changes, their time doesn't change at the same time ours does. So it really confuses time
yeah.
because they will change ahead of us in the winter, but then they're weeks behind us in the spring.
No, they never go behind us, the UK. So sometimes it's 4 hours, sometimes it's 5 hours. So it'll only be 4 hours, like you said, for like 2, 3 weeks.
Oh no, I'm talking about daylight savings.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, there's an app called Time Buddy, and I highly recommend it. We need to upgrade your phone.
But yeah,
Time
so
Buddy. Time Buddy app. It's a lifesaver because for like the last 20 years, I've been working with so many different time zones from starting off when I was literally, I think, well, when I was 20, I was on Wall Street, and then 21, and then like maritime, which is so global, like financing ships and oil tankers, which is so global. So I got used to like the time zones, like Singapore, London, Greece, whatever, Dubai. Yeah, there's
yeah.
apps for that.
Well, and what's more confusing about time is there's places like India, there's places in Indiana and Arizona that never do the time change.
I
So it's
know,
like,
you're right.
well, the rest of us do, so I don't know how to calculate the time for you now.
It's true. It's true. It gets tricky. That's why like having an app is good. See, that's where it's tech for good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, but going back towards
Yeah.
your dream and mission, so where do you see Healerverse? I mean, you mentioned the AI app helping, but where else do you see Healerverse going in the future? What's your like overall goal?
Literally to heal the world. Like my vision is to heal the world. Like for everyone to be able to find friends everywhere they go, to be able to solve a lot of missions too that aren't relevant to spiritual and holistic healing, that are spiritual in nature. Like, when you put all the spiritual people in the world into one place and conversations can be had, miracles happen. Mark my words. And I'm like, mark my words. Can you tell I'm like restraining myself right now? Like when you put people that actually know what's going on, that only can have whispered conversations right now into a space where anything can be talked about freely, openly, securely, and to be able to help like a lot of these things that are going on that shouldn't be happening too, right? Or to like educate people on like what's going on and to be able to have these deep enlightened conversations. I mean, it's literally the new earth. It's the 5D. I think we've all felt this shift recently, right? And to be able to support people through that too, right? Like there's the front door and then the back door. The front door might be like, would you like some yoga or some Reiki? Try Reiki. And that's like, whoa, that's like completely like going to outer space, right?
Yeah.
Reiki, right? Right. We
That's
know.
only recently been allowed to be even talked about in hospitals.
Yeah, it's amazing, really. And then just allowing people to go on the journey of healing themselves. I mean, there's so much stuff that's happening around globally, right? And
Right.
also like to tap into like corporate wellness, right? Because people everywhere need help right now, all different levels. And therapy is a big thing, but like, what about healing? Like, like healing. Sometimes healing is just knowing the truth about something. And sometimes healing is like digging in and like finding out, what do I actually believe versus what was I told? And people go through so much trauma these days, right? Whether it's literally like since childhood or not. And two people could go through the same exact scenario and they're not going to have the same outcome of like trauma or whatever, right? One person's not affected, one person is. And then it's all like, you know what I mean? Like you said, that's not even linear. Healing is not linear either. And it's like also like to like bring people together, like to have fun too. It's not all like doom and gloom. It's like it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have fun, right?
We are, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious with all your studies and everything. Did you ever come across a healing modality called timeline therapy?
So sometimes the different things that I've done may have a different name. That's the thing with healing, right? How do you get this? This is a new chair. Yeah.
So, timeline therapy that I went through and experienced and learned is you go into a trance state and you go back in your timeline, whether it's this life or a past life,
Mm-hmm.
to the first moment your soul remembers experiencing what, say, you recognize a pattern of, I make $100 and then I spend it. I never go over $100 in accounts.
Mm.
Well, so you realize this is a pattern in life. So you go, okay, so you enter into a trance and you go, where did this first appear? And it could be like 100 lifetimes ago, and you were a wealthy person and everybody was treating you badly. But when you had $100, everyone left you alone.
Wow.
So you learned,
Yeah.
hey, $100, everyone's happy. More than
It's
that,
your soul. It's your
there's
soul. Yeah.
right.
So I've
So
done
then
that with
you,
a
so what
different
the
name.
objective of timeline is to see the
Ugh.
positives and rewrite the negative lesson to a positive lesson, going, hey, you had that money to help people.
Yeah.
It didn't matter how much you had. And then you go into the future and you plant the positive, and it like totally, without even realizing it, you've rewritten your timeline,
I
so
love
to
that.
speak.
I love that. Yes, so I have done it and I didn't know it was called that because that's the thing. There's different like names for different things, and I'm sure people use different ways to get you there. Like you said, like going into trance or like hypnosis or theta healing, or like, you know what I mean? You put your brain into a different wave, into a different wave. But I actually am a facilitator of what you're speaking of. But I have a different name for it, right? And I did an event on Saturday locally, and like we did that, but we didn't do it exactly like that because I didn't have time. I like partnered up with a healer here. She did sound healing. I did meditation, right? But yeah, I mean that's really super cool, and like it has a lot of different names, and then it depends on the practitioner too, right? Because everybody like has all the things that they learned, and then sometimes they'll incorporate it into like their own unique spin on things.
Yeah,
Because we're never not learning, right? Like people
yeah,
like us, we're always healing and learning. Not everybody's like that. Some people stay stuck, but like if you're a healer or a way shower, like beautiful Michael here, we keep going. We get bored. Like we need, it's not bored actually, it's not the right word.
no.
We genuinely want to help people. So like what's next? What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
Like healers are not lazy.
And
We
it's
show
funny you mentioned that about it, because when I was doing the timeline therapy and we were learning it, so we had to do it on others,
yeah.
everybody would tell me to slow down because I would go from step 1 to like step 4. And they're like, what about all this? I'm like, I already did that. I don't need to, and it's like, they're like, no, we got to go. And I'm like, all right, fine. And it's like, going step by step, and I was like, in my mind going, I'm already like 5 steps ahead of this. Why can't we just go?
That comes natural to you. That's why. That's how it is for me too with that. That was the first time I ever got up like on a stage and like took people through it. I've done it before on YouTube. But when I do it myself, I go like so fast, right? And I just go there and it's a different experience. And it came natural to me right away. Right away. It came natural to me because we already have like done this maybe. And we're just remembering because they Men in Black, they zapped us before we came back this time. But like you said, the soul remembers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
It's natural.
the other thing too is learning. I'm undergoing learning about myself. That if you watch Writing Through the Unknown, my other series, that is my learning. I have been a part of things that my memory has blocked from my memory. So it's like
Yeah.
normal methods of remembering things doesn't work on that because I got to figure out, well, why is this memory blocked? Okay, so if I heal this part, it'll help release the block, but I may not actually ever release the block because the blocks are there for a purpose. And so it's like I get to learn little tidbits along the way. And so I'm coming to peace with that and going, okay, because I like to know things when I'm ready to know things, and learning not always ready to know.
Are you
And
talking
so
about from this timeline or past lives or both?
I'm talking about this timeline being schismed into multiple timelines.
Okay. So thank you for sharing that, first of all, because I can totally relate. When I was growing up, I don't remember a damn thing. I don't remember anything. Like, you know what I mean? I don't remember anything. And I like to say it's because I'm so present. Now I'm starting to remember like little bits and pieces, but it's like I seldom will remember things at all, right? Yeah.
Right.
I remember very specific moments of fear and joy, right? But a lot of it is such a blur. Like my entire teen years is a blur. I don't remember a damn thing. I don't remember my childhood. It's a blur. I don't know. Like
Right. And
blocked. Yeah.
it's kind of funny too, as I noticed, like,
Mm-hmm.
you had mentioned about, 5D and everything, how
Yeah.
that's like the next place. And a lot of people that I've talked to are saying, you know, oh yeah, when we ascend from 3D, we're ascending to 5D. And so when I saw your site, 5D Healerverse, I was like, yes, I can get a jump on the 5D aspect and be there ahead of schedule and be,
Yeah. You are.
integrating it. And
Yeah.
that's why whenever I talk about Healerverse, I always say 5D Healerverse.
Yeah. I know. And you know that why that happened? Because the initial trademark attorney said you can't do Healerverse. They're gonna know like that. And then I had bad legal advice. I had bad legal advice. Um, you said I had to do something before Healerverse, otherwise it's explaining what you're doing. And I don't know, it was bad legal advice. And then somebody said to me, did you make that name up? And I said, yes. They said, then you can do it. I'm like, oh my God. But anyways, it took me forever to come up with the name Healerverse, forever to come up with the name 5D. I sat there. It had a code name. The code name was Ethers. And I also own Ethers Verse for anybody that's interested in buying it because it's sitting there, or collabing or partnering. Like I love actually building stuff. So like if anyone wants to partner, collab, whatever, like already has something they need help. I'm also like a coach in a sense for the last 9.5 years. So
I
tech
like that you
wise,
say though 5D. You got bad advice where I look at it as I think you got the right advice because that's
True.
the ascension
It
is
happened
5D.
from that's why I chose that. I was like, we're entering into the 5D. Mind you, this is going back to 2020, right? So like this was like already some time ago that I had this idea and then that happened. Yeah, it was late 2020.
I love how we talk about 2020 as some long ago time, and it
It
was 4 years
was.
ago.
It's a long time ago, right? The blur since then too. It's a
I
blur.
know it's just funny how our perspectives. It's like when we said the 20s or the 1980s, the 2000s. We're like, wow, that was so long ago. Now we're 2020. That was so long ago.
Do you remember like in 2000, they were like, the internet's gonna break, right?
Oh
That
yeah,
didn't even make sense.
Y2K.
Yeah, they're so weird. The shit
Well,
that they make up.
the story behind that, I don't know if it's true or not, but they were saying the mechanisms that tell the time and everything were never programmed to go to 2000. So when it hit 1999, it was like going to stop and be like, we can't, there's no 2000. Do we go back to one and start over? And that was
It
what the
doesn't even
craze
make
was. But
sense.
then everything quickly, it was like, 2000, no big deal.
If I knew then what I know now, you know what I mean? Because that doesn't even make sense. Think about
Well,
it. That doesn't even make sense. Because what did they program it from zero? Like, of course, like, it doesn't even make sense, you know? And
well,
they made it a big deal. They're running out of stuff to do. Now they're
and
coming out with the bird flu.
oh yeah, they're always coming out with something. And another funny thing about like where we say, leave the past in the past, just learn the lessons and move on, don't dwell in it.
Yeah.
I was doing my ancestry. My sister started it,
Were
and
you?
I took it over and kind of filled in a whole lot of blanks. And I was able to take the line back on one aspect almost to create, I think, to creation.
What?
And I was like, I was trying to, and I was creating a photo book for my parents to say, this is where you started, or this is where we started as the kids and
Aw.
went back. And this is who these generations are. Well, my dad's side goes further back than my mom's because I guess records were destroyed in the wars, maybe. But I was like, in the photo book, so I hit BC and everything started going backwards. And they're like, wait, we can't add this person. And I'm like, override. And so I'd have to override every date because it'd be like 1000 to or 1200 to 1000 was when this person lived. I'm like, yes, because it's BC. The years go backwards.
Wow. So
And
where
I
did you
contact the
originate from?
program, huh?
Where did you originate from?
Uh, boy, on my dad's side, it was Garden of Eden. I
Okay,
can
but
actually trace to that and
yeah,
beyond.
I
But
believe it.
here was the funny story. So I reach out to the people who Ancestry and the company that's doing the book, and I go, I'm struggling with the BC. I can't. Your system keeps arguing with me. You know what they said to me? You're the first person to ever reach BC, and we're not geared up for that. So we have to talk to our tech people to see if we can make that even
What
possible.
year was this? What year was this?
Like probably 4 years ago,
Oh, wow. That's been
4 or
around
5 years.
forever. I'm surprised. That's wild. It's because then they had to go backwards. It's so
Yeah,
funny. Well
but
done.
yeah, it's funny how it's like,
Yeah. Were you
and
always like before, like in America before that, like ancestry wise? Or
so ancestry wise, I have American,
Texas.
I have British, I have French, I have Norwegian, I have Russian, Ukrainian, I have Italian, and those are the main hotspots because it gets interesting because I loved doing Ancestry and having to fix some of my sister's work because, and I mean this in the true Southern sense, bless her heart, you can't say in 1716 Virginia, United States of America, somebody did something because United States of America didn't exist. It's the colony of. And so it's like I had to go in and correct from other people to. They're all like, "Oh yeah, my ancestor was in 1720 in New York, United States," and I was like, "How are they in the United States? There was no United States in 1720." And so it was like that would irk me, and I would go in and change that to Colony of New York or New York Township because I was like, to me, if I'm making a historical document, I need it to be historical, not, well, yeah, I could call New York United States because that's what it is now, but not then.
I wouldn't even know the difference, honestly, because school was never really for me. I know I studied like as much as I could just to like pass or whatever, but I mostly got D's and F's in elementary school, and honestly the teachers liked me, so they passed me. So I really
Man,
don't.
look at you now.
I know. That's proof. Isn't that proof? Isn't that proof though? Like, you know what I mean? People need to know that.
Yeah, I was bored in school, and having dyslexia didn't help. But
Oh, interesting. That means you're gifted though. Like, cause like that's the thing. Well, I mean, I was in resource room, you know, like, cause I don't have a memory. I don't have a memory. Like, I mean, cancel. I have like I don't I'm like not stupid either. Like I'm sharp. You know what I mean? But it's like just it depends. And I need to learn a certain way.
yeah,
And I don't remember people's names all the time. I just don't. I'm working on it. But if like I'm shown how to do something, I'll remember it. I have to repeat it and repeat it. I'm very in tune with animals though, and not everybody's like that. Like the way animals like come and they sit next to me or lay on me, that's special. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone has their own
nice.
stuff. I didn't fit in the box. And I have a master's degree, and I got one after I died and came back. Because I felt like I had a point to prove. And I think it goes back to what the spirit said when I was in that Reiki session. They said, "You're done." They were talking about everything. Prior to that, I was trying to prove that I could hang, right?
Yeah,
That's what they meant. You're done. You don't have to do this anymore. Go do you. Go do you. And God forbid I said healer like in front of my family who's super religious, you know? Um, and actually I had family come to like the meditation that I led on Saturday with the sound healing, and certain family members' eyes were wide open. You'd think they just got Botox. I mean, really. And then after, like, it was definitely made sure that it was hit on the nail, like the nail on the head several times. I was there. I was watching. I watched. And I'm like, cool. You know what? We're making progress.
yeah.
As I'm taking people into the trance state and doing downloads and like we're holding space, you know? And yeah.
Yeah, it's like I tell people with the shows, they're like, "Why do you do it?" And I'm like, "Because I'm planting an idea, and whether it comes and grows, that's up to the individual. But everyone who watches this show is getting little ideas planted in their head, and some of them will resonate, and so they'll go and pursue those and learn more about them. And those that don't, they just are like, yeah, I don't remember that episode, so oh, I'm sure it was good. And it's like, I'm not hurt by that. It's like, I'm
No.
like, hey, you're watching. And so that's the important thing is, and I like how the replay numbers go up from the initial live because I'm like, yeah, I'm one of those people who, if something really resonates with me and I feel kin to it, I'll go back and watch it a few times or a
Yeah.
lot of times. And some things I'll watch and I'll be like, yeah, I've seen that. Okay. And
Yeah.
movies, I'm like really interested in, and I'll watch specific movies. And I asked my guides one day, I was like, how come I can remember these movies and I'm drawn to these movies, but other movies I've watched, I never remember them. Like I could watch them 2 or 3 times, and to me, it's always watching it for the first time. And they said the movies that you watch the most, whether it's TV shows, movies, or TV movies, are because they have an aspect of you in it that you recognize. And so I'm like, and I thought it was interesting because, like, I grew up watching Star Wars, Star Trek, and Dune. I mean, sci fi. I was like, man, you name it, I've pretty much seen it.
Really?
And now finding out, yeah, I actually see now a lot of the movies like Star Wars. I see it for the documentary that it is to specific people.
Yeah.
And one of the touching moments that like triggered that and like brought that into full reality was watching the last episode with Ray. And I had told my parents before we saw this movie years ago that I have memory of having a knight and a lightsaber. And when the war got too much and we knew we had to go into hiding, we buried our weapons. And I had forgotten about telling them that. And so fast forward to the when the movie with, I think it was what, the Last Skywalker or something, or
I have no idea. I don't even
the
put on
one
the
they call the
TV.
last one,
I
episode 9. I'll put it
think
that way.
it was
Episode 9.
I think I saw like some of that back in the day, but I don't even turn on the TV, so I have no idea.
Yeah, but there's a scene where Ray goes into the sand and puts lightsabers into the dirt and then swallows the dirt back up and covers it up. And I had tears coming down my eyes seeing that in the theaters. And I leaned over to my parents and I go, see, I told you that was real. I
Oh,
did that. And it was like, and then fast forward yet again to like last year where someone goes, yeah, you were a part of that story.
I
And I
feel
was like,
that.
oh
I
my
felt
God.
that. Yeah, I felt that. Thank you for sharing that. That's really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because like people will put stuff in front of me and say, hey, you need to watch this. And I'll spend like 5 minutes, and if it doesn't resonate, I'm like, okay, I gave my word. I fulfilled my word. I watched it. I never said I would watch it all. It's like I
Oh
feel
my God.
comfortable moving on and going, okay, let's go watch something that I really resonate towards. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting how when we sit back and look at life, the choices we make, we feel like are free will, and they are. But at the same
Mhm.
time, we are being nudged or guided, if we realize it, to
Oh
the
yeah.
right path.
Oh yeah. Totally. And like I think too, it's one of those things. what kind of an experience do you want to have? Because you're going to get to the destination, you're not going to miss it. So, like, do you want to have fun and be happy, or do you want to like torture yourself? And actually, I needed to hear that tonight as a reminder, because I've been like, like enjoying myself and taking it a little bit more easy, but I haven't been sleeping that well. I wake up really early. But besides that, like I get to choose the experience I want to have. I'm going to get there no matter what. Certain things are predestined in the stars. So why not have a good time, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting, you talk about sleeping is
Yes, it's
I
10:12. It's almost time for me to go to bed, brother.
I know, and it's like when you say you're not sleeping much, you're getting up early. For me, it's the exact opposite. Is I don't fall asleep until like some nights 3, 4 in the morning,
Wow.
and then I'm up at 8 o'clock, or I try to
Oh,
get up at 8, and I end up sleeping
mm.
in until 9. But come 9 o'clock, I'm like, yeah, I got to get up.
Oh,
But
I
it's
like
like,
I like being part of the early morning crew and the late night crew. I stayed up tonight to talk to you, and I'm grateful I did.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's funny too. Is and I like to in the shows, I'll pull out a moment where I'll say in full transparency because I like being transparent and
Yeah.
honest. And I remember when I was talking to you about doing the show, I said it's at 9 o'clock. You're like, well, that's 10 o'clock my time. And you're like, I guess we can do that. And I was like, well, I can do 8. And, we can start an hour earlier. And that way, if we run long, it's a, will that work for you? And you're like, that would be so much better.
Yeah. That's so true. Listen, if you call me at 9 a.m., you will get perky Trish. You'll get a whole different experience. But that's what's super cool about being yourself all the time. So I'm so, 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 so grateful. And I would love to do this again anytime, especially in the morning. Maybe when you're up at 3 or 4 a.m., let's start at 5.
That would be an interesting show for me. I'll be like, oh yeah, yeah. What are we talking about?
Oh my God. I know that's like me tonight. I apologize everybody that's listening for the times that I yawned. I love
Hey,
you guys. I'm grateful. And we love Michael. Let's just talk about that and say we love Michael. He's fucking amazing. He's the only person I would say, literally, I would say this, the only person, I'm telling you the truth, that I would say yes to 9 p.m. Because, like, even if people are like, you want to go out at like 8 o'clock to dinner, I'm like, 8 o'clock? 5, you mean, right? Like 5?
yeah.
Yeah.
7 is the latest I ever eat, but
Yeah, I like to like to dinner at 5 o'clock. Happy hour. Like not for alcohol, but like, well, anyways, I live in
appetizers.
Florida. I live in Florida. It's all the seniors, but it's really amazing how enlightened Florida is and how much they're waking up to. Shout
Yeah,
out to Florida. Yeah,
and there is something interesting I found about you and where you are, without disclosing too much. Is
yeah,
I love how you talk about being connected to the universe and everything, and then look at what city you're living in,
I know.
and I'm like, she's doing it.
Yeah. And lately, I'm just like, this is where I live. I don't care. Because I'm like, we need people to get together in the community. Because, like, I've been traveling all over the globe for the last however many years. And now I want to, like, also do stuff in the local community. And
I
I'm
know,
like,
and you even pick one of the special galactic spots
yes, we didn't
to
even really
lay
talk
your
about
head.
it, right? There's a lot of alien activity here. A lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. So much. All you have to do is look up. All you have to do is look up. They're everywhere here, and especially the last week. So when we hang up, yeah, I'm going outside quick just to check out the situation, and I'm gonna have to get back to you guys on that.
Oh, the activity's ramping up. Then
Oh yeah.
James Gilliland has said if you go outside, the Earth
Yeah.
sky is literally coated in
Coded.
UFOs
Yeah.
if you know how to look for them.
You just look up. They're there. I mean, shit. They're everywhere right now. And good. They're here to help.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that they accidentally touched down in Miami and we're like walking around. They're like, damn, this isn't Alaska. We went to the wrong place.
Whoops.
I love them so much.
Maybe we should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
Oh my God. I know. Damn. Oh my God. It was probably Mercury retrograde at the time or some shit. And they went to the wrong place. Like, I'm sure they use planets too. That's so funny. I'm gonna have to check on that. Was it Mercury retrograde? I feel
Probably.
I would love to do this again another time. We could freaking go ham on astrology and aliens and all the things because we didn't touch on that. Yeah.
I have a whole show for that. A whole series.
Really? Can we do a group, like a whole group? Because it's fun to talk about it with a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to get a couple panels going for some stuff.
Yeah, that's the next thing coming to Healerverse too, groups. So you can have your own group and be like, because a lot of people want to know this stuff. They don't know where to go to talk about it. So like Michael's fucking group, whatever you want to do. We'll talk about it offline, but yeah, groups for specific topics.
And another thing of transparency is Trish, when she set up Healerverse, everybody was deemed healer because it's called 5D Healerverse. And I kept, you were asking me, and it was like 3 months, you were talking to me about, why aren't you joining? Why aren't you verifying? I'm like, because I'm not a healer. And you're like, we got to fix that. And so.
Yes, exactly. And I'm with that. Already. I mentioned earlier, I'm an Aquarius. Healerverse is the healer. You know what I'm saying? Healerverse is the healer. There's healers on there that are super enlightened. Just like Michael, even though his term is way shower, he's actually a healer in this timeline, in his past life, in this timeline. And he still is, because anybody that is out there using their throat chakra and activating the truth and real life experiences and bringing people together and being the light is a healer. If you look it up in the freaking Google or whatever, I don't know what the hell comes up, right? It's just that's why we nicknamed, or we came up with Way Shower. And then I'm like, people should be able to name whatever they want, right? The reason we verify people is because then they get to use it, right? Because also when we do events and stuff and speaking, and then people come to me and they're like, hey, we want to do an event. Can you who do you suggest? And it's like Michael, he's been verified. We love him. He's going. Yeah. The other thing I've been working on lately is community. Healers are verified, way showers are verified, them going into communities and corporate, because they need healing too. They need enlightenment too. They need experiences. We're doing everything at Healerverse. All right, brother, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's time for the wrap up.
Because you see this eye house closing.
Yeah. But I do have to say though, from talking with you on the round table and talking to you offline, you seem just as bubbly now as you do then.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you and all the things. Bless your heart. Just kidding.
No, I actually had to explain that to my co-hosts in the UK, and they were like,
"No,
what?
They wouldn't know."
No, they had no idea. They were like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, I love the UK. It's my shit.
And I had to tell my host, because I've said it to her a couple times, not the Southern way, and I said, "You got to remember, I'm not Southern born, so I can use it in a different way. So, and they were like, uh-huh. I was like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But so where can everyone find you?
Healerverse, 5dhealerverse.com. Add me as a friend, send me a DM on there, send Michael a DM on there. He does amazing posts. We love his posts on Instagram at Healer. Oh, no, that's not it. At Trish Kane Healerverse is my Instagram. LinkedIn is Trish M. Kane. And you'll see me on there. And that's really it. I don't really fuck with Facebook too much. I'm on there, but it's not really my platform. So
No, I've noticed because
yeah.
sometimes I'll ask a question up to you on Messenger, and I'll be like,
Oh no.
"Oh, let's go over to Instagram or TikTok," and
Not even
like,
Instagram.
hey,
I don't even. Oh yeah, I'm on TikTok, but I don't answer. I mean, it's seldom, but if I see Michael, I will answer. That's the thing. I have so many messages, and with all the love in the world. It's like you can't answer everybody. You know what I mean? Who
it
has
is
time for that? I'm literally running the whole business and like trying to like be present and help people and everything. So whatever. But hey, it's not for everybody, right? And I'm an
right.
Aquarius. That's what we do. We disappear. All right, y'all. What else you got for me, Michael?
So one last question,
Okay.
the quintessential question of your life experience so far. What is a golden nugget you would want to leave everyone who's watching this episode with?
Have faith in yourself. Go back to your inner child and say, what do you need? And love yourself. And if you don't know what love yourself is, that's okay. I used to not know either. It takes a lot of undoing instead of doing to learn to love yourself and work on being present and enjoying your own life and all the moments with yourself and date yourself, date yourself, date yourself, find yourself and love yourself. Thank you, everybody.
All right. So we are going to say good night to everyone. Good night, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And take and fill each day with love. And like Trish said, love yourself and date yourself. That's a really interesting idea is to take yourself on a date.
Yes.
I've never thought about doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really get a bottle of sparkling water. Take care of yourself. Treat yourself. Date yourself. Don't worry about who's going with you. Get to know yourself. It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you heard it here from the founder of 5D Healerverse and Away Shower. So
Yeah.
if you want to go for it, go for it. And if not, that's fine with us too. Enjoy the ride.
Love you guys.
All
Good
right. Good night, everyone.